They have the hard-hitting analysis.
I'm anti-injury, so maybe this won't work out.
Kyler's only playing one tight end this week, so that's probably going to help him out a lot.
They tell it like it is.
That's not what I needed, Grandma Nut.
All right, the hipster fantasy player.
I don't do anything.
Their listeners love them.
Found all your charts boring, to be frank. Caitlin was the star of the show.
They break down all the statistics.
20 points. That doesn't quite add up. Maybe he had 93.
This is the Snick Snack Sports Podcast.
Here we... All right, Snickers, help me out.
What's going on, all you party people out there? Welcome back to the Snick Snack Sports Fantasy Football Podcast, brought to you here tonight by myself, Snick, and himself, Snack. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Snickers. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's all around the world. It's officially New Year's everywhere.
It is indeed, and it's now 2025, just in time for us to crown a champion.
Yeah.
So it's just me and Nick on the show tonight, but we have a champion named, and they are the two-time champion now, Kyle.
Two-time Kyle.
Yeah, that team name Foo Foo Cuddly Poops has been treating him well. We were looking back through the records, and there was a time when he wasn't called that apparently, and his team was pretty bad.
Until last year, his team was pretty bad, yeah. And then he kind of, I'm going to say, took the mantle from me, but really took it from Kyler, because Kyler's team has been kind of 500 ever since then, and Kyle and Kyler obviously the only back-to-back two-time champs, where I won my championship in two different eras.
That's true, and we were looking back through the eras, something we'll explore more, I'm sure, on a future episode, but some interesting finds there will come out and more in today's podcast, because we also have Superlatives on the show.
Yeah. Everyone's favorite. Yeah, here we go.
Honoring everybody's efforts throughout this long fantasy season, which is now sadly over. But we had our bets, and I'm sure you're all eagerly waiting. Snickers, you did score the final 2 points of the year.
I did. I got all the matchups right in the second round and the finals. You got them right in the first round, and we were able to get very, very close together. And the winner was
It's me.
Yeah. Was you. Yeah.
I have a 3-year win streak, back to back to back, you might say.
Overtime last year was a little iffy on the Candyland game there, but
yeah, I mean, overtime counts in every sport but hockey. Or is it overtime losses that are different in hockey?
Overtime losses count against your record. Yeah, overtime wins are just a win. So you're 3-0. I'm 0-2-1.
You see, we're on hockey rules.
Yeah.
So there you have it. It is an exciting year, maybe one of the most fun yet. A lot of trades happening, a lot of Discord involvement.
Yeah, no, gotta give a big shout out for all the engagement this year. All our fans out there, all across the world, were just pouring in the love, the hate, the stirring up the controversies, just poking at each other and just begging us, when's the next episode coming out? Whenever it wasn't coming out on a Thursday night exactly. And I love you guys.
Yeah, last year was the year of the gates. This year was the year of the engagement, I would say.
Yeah.
We didn't need any. I mean, there were a number of scandalous gates, but it really wasn't the focus. No Hank slander had to happen. We just had a year where everyone was involved. It was great. And we might as well celebrate that by looking at Kyle's victory over Kenny here.
Yeah.
While it wasn't a close game, I thought it was a very fitting championship. I mean, 300 points were scored in this game. That might have been the highest scoring game of the year.
Yeah, the 173. I mean, Kyle had Malik Neighbors on his bench, as you'll be able to see here. And there was no way Kyle was going to lose to anybody. He was ready to go. Kenny put up a very, very good score. And he still was not able to overcome the championship here. But Kenny's second place, highest he's ever placed. Good job to Kenny. Shout out.
Yeah, nice work, Kenny. Yeah, Kenny was dealing with a team that was falling apart at the seams and just pulled out a week that would have beaten almost everybody else in the league besides Carson and myself.
Hmm.
So couldn't have asked for much more. He got a decent week out of Bryce Young, for example. That was a bold call for the finals.
It's a very bold call. Eagles got a touchdown on defense. Puka, Jameer Gibbs doing great things. Jordan Addison obviously sticking with him. But shout out to Kyle with playing Jared Goff off the waivers, having Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins with 3 touchdowns on Saturday. Possible game of the year. That was a very good game. Trey McBride finally got his touchdown, guys. The team only scored 9 points, but he accounted for 6 of them there. Jameson Williams, Seahawks defense, and like you said, Malik on the bench, Justin Herbert on the bench.
Hmm.
James Cook was benched.
And
So Kyle
apparently, well,
could have got 200 points here.
he could have gotten 200 points. He had the potential to score the highest ever, besides maybe one of Katie's games, who I don't remember exactly. She might have scored 205. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, it was a bold call to bench James Cook, but it ended up being almost the right call. Um, Zach Charbonnet got the start and only got 9 points.
The Thursday night game was possibly the worst game of the year.
Yeah, not a good one. I didn't watch it, so I don't know how bad it was, but I have not heard good things. But yeah, what a performance in the finals. This may have been we actually didn't check this, but it may have been the highest score of the year. It was very similar to the score I got against Kyle, but he might have gotten more than me.
Hmm.
And I can't think of any. There was a couple in the 160s.
Yeah, Shane
Um,
scored 116 in week 1, I think, and didn't win another game. But
yeah, but the reason that y'all are here perhaps is to hear what your team did the best at this year, not what you didn't do the best at. Kyle did the best at winning. He won the championship.
yeah,
Um, but you all did the best at something, and we went and we dug through the numbers, we dug through the spreadsheets, and we found that thing. And we're going to tell you what it is right after a word from today's sponsor.
In a world filled with crime, give me your lunch money.
That's all I had.
There's only one man for the job.
Did somebody call the Olive Man?
Oh no, not the Olive Man.
That's right, you better run. Wow, thanks, Olive Man. Anytime, kid. Coming December 17th, the Olive Man versus the world.
Yeah, thanks to Olive Man for advertising. It's a movie that came out 2 years ago and hasn't done very well, but we hope you all see it.
yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it yet. He just comes into the interaction and then it's over?
Yeah, he
Does
fights
it fight
crime
him
with
or?
his falsetto.
Okay.
Olive Man, like that.
Yeah, no one never knows what he's saying, but it should be a good movie.
Yeah, the confusion is part of his offense. So, but without further ado, let's get into the superlatives. So, Nick,
Yeah.
where do we start?
Here, let's go to one of the biggest interactions of the year. We're going to give the Baldiest Trade Award to our very own commissioner, Matt, for trading away Jamar Chase and still getting into the playoffs, nearly winning in the first round, getting 4th place overall, giving away the best player, I think, in fantasy this year, and
Hmm.
still being able to do well. Good job for Matt.
Yeah, I know we actually didn't do the math on whether he would have made it to the finals with Jamar Chase, but I don't think he would have because he lost by quite a bit.
He wouldn't have beat Kyle this week, so
He wouldn't have beat Kyle this week, so he didn't throw away his season, unlike all the haters claimed. Um, some may say it wasn't a mutually beneficial trade. It certainly helps my team, but I think Matt has some ground
I
to
think
stand
your
on.
team and my team would have been pretty similar if you didn't make the trade. So
I don't know about that. But he did not his team only, it went like 6-2 after making that trade. So
yeah,
next up we have his wife who got the Better Than the Pats award.
yeah. Obviously, a little throwback to her name here, where she was worse than the Pats all year. And once they had the same record, they was just as good as the Pats. And then she won her fourth game and better than the Pats. So even with the Patriots playing a few more games, she's still going to have more wins. I don't think the Patriots are beating Buffalo this week in Buffalo against their backups.
No, and this game wouldn't even count because it's extra week. And yeah, there was a time when she was worse than the Pats.
Yeah.
And then she went on a bit of a hot streak there at the end. So it was kind of a late to the party kind of thing. Her team was super underperforming for about two-thirds of the year, and then it turns out her team wasn't half bad, but a little too late.
Then
Sorry,
yeah, she
Katie.
beat Kyle. If you guys remember this, she
Hmm.
gave Kyle his first loss and her first win. And that was a lot of fun. I thought it was gonna be a turning point, but Kyle was able to pull through that. And speaking of Kyle pulling through that, we're gonna go right to the champion here and the Overcoming the Odds Award. And not only having a couple losses near the end of the season, but he didn't have a third round pick.
Hmm.
He was pushing through a lot of odds here. Obviously, coming through as a bye team and at the end of the year, which is very good for him. But it was very, very impressive, and he was able to go back to back here.
And let's not forget that Kyle had the highest points against. I don't think we've ever had a champion with the highest points against. He actually ended the season with a negative point differential.
Yeah,
After the championship game, I'm sure that was reversed, but the standings only show us the season stats, and it wasn't by a small margin that he had the most. He was 10-4 and was getting destroyed on a on average every week on his defense.
I think you had something to do with that. But yeah, you that just goes to overcoming the odds, getting beat by you by 70 points, and then still coming through in the end of the season and finishing it with a championship. Pretty good.
Yeah, and on the other side of the Overcoming the Odds award, we had the biggest micromanager award going to the Duck himself, for very similar reasons. Ducky made a lot of trades in the offseason and during the end of last year, acquired a lot of high picks in this year's draft. I think he had two third round picks. Might have even had more than that. And then he also made 50 roster transactions, which is more roster transactions than anybody has ever made in the history of our league. Every week he was making these little fiddly things, trying to
Yeah,
make it just right. And his team did not. It made the playoffs, but it was a bit, the season ended with a bit of a whimper for him. He was a
yeah.
losing team for the second half of the year.
No, like yeah, he's doing well. Like we said, he had the one seed, and as soon as that hit, he lost, including the playoffs. I think the last 5 or 6 games, and that's something I called. And but it was tough to watch. I mean, it's happened before, not in this big level with all the extra picks he had and all the different players he picked up, all the little $1 transactions that he thought might turn into something, ended up not helping him in the end there.
Yeah, he spent an average of $2 per pickup.
Mm,
We only have $100 in this league.
yeah,
Um, and he, if you haven't seen Matt's posts about the kind of the year in review that he posted in Discord about the a reflection on draft pick trading, it was very interesting. It did not seem to predict at all success, even though we all thought that having two third round picks, and I think he might have had maybe even three, or he had something else that benefited him. I don't remember what it was.
yeah.
His team looked crazy intimidating, and it was just a fine.
Yeah, no, Kenny and Kyle both in the finals, both without a third round pick. And obviously I had an extra one, Ducky had an extra one, and we didn't do very well, in the grand scheme of things here. But
Yeah.
going to one of the most fun awards to do a little bit of research on here was the Quarterback Farter Award for being the best at picking the wrong quarterback. John, who had Caleb Williams, Kirk Cousins, and Jordan Love on his team all year long, got week 1 right, where he picked the highest scoring quarterback, and he got week 8 right, where he picked the highest scoring quarterback. Every other week, he was dramatically incorrect, including one bye week, one point week from Kirk Cousins, a couple other ones where he was just trying to follow the last week, and we all know in fantasy, if you're just trying to see what they did last week, especially in receivers, but in this case, quarterbacks, it's oftentimes not going to work. So congrats on the Quarterback Farter Award.
Yeah, A lot of people talk about the terror of having two quarterbacks in your team and regretting the choice of picking the wrong one. And John lived that. He had three. He picked right 2 out of 14 times. That's 14% of the time that he was picking the correct quarterback.
Yeah, and just so no one thinks that we're just trying to make fun of John here, the farter is the opposite of a whisperer. So he thought he was going to be a quarterback whisperer, and he ended up being the quarterback farter.
Because farting is like whispering out of your butt.
Yeah, so you get someone's attention.
hmm Exactly. Now I actually don't even remember what this award means, but Kyler got the 3 and 47 award. What's that about, Nick?
3 and 47 award. His name is the onside kick recovery team. Do you know how many onside kicks were recovered this year?
Three, apparently.
There were three, and as of week 17 in the NFL, there were 47 attempts, and only three of them made it through. So Kyler was coming in hot, trying to win a lot of games, ended up just missing the playoffs, ended up winning the toilet bowl. But yeah, going 3 of 47, not the best, and just another play on his playing names there. Best luck to him next year.
Yeah, his team might have wished that our league had an onside kick rule because he was just about to sneak into the playoffs. If there had been some kind of last second, like bet it all kind of maneuver, he would have
Mm-hmm.
been doing it this year. Very strong second half for him after
Yeah,
a
yeah.
pretty rough first half. So, good on Kyler for sticking it out when the prospects looked bleak.
Mm, not a good job. And on to the most worst team ever award to Shane, who we did a little bit of research in this, and ever since 2016, which is back far back as our records go, he is the worst team ever. We looked at all the Nolan teams. Nolan went 7-6 a couple times. Nolan went 4-9, I think was the worst he's ever gotten.
3 and 9 was his
Three
worst.
and nine was the worst he ever gotten. And Shane with a week one smoke. After that went what 12-1.
Yeah, there was the tie with Katie in the middle there, and he probably would have won that game. But even if he did, his record would have been worse than Nolan's with two additional games, mind you. We added 2 games this season since that 2016 season.
Yeah, no, the 12 losses, the one win, both league records. So congratulations, Shane, for being the best at what you're trying to do there.
And also congratulations to Shane for being above 3 people in the final standings, despite
Yeah,
being the worst team of all time, including your team.
he did well in the toilet bowl. Congratulations, Sam.
Um, we also have an award for my partner here um, at the podcast, the Miss the Crapper Award. And this was an
Ooh.
award based on your reputation of being an excellent toilet bowl player, at least over the past few years. You've always said that if you don't make the playoffs, you win the toilet bowl.
Hmm.
Um, and so for having the most misplaced toilet bowl confidence, you received the Miss the Crap Award, coming in fact in 12th place due to your toilet bowl performance.
Yeah, I mean it's not an award you love to have. It's probably going to go in a closet instead of on a pedestal there. But I think it does mean I'm not getting the first overall pick next year unless you guys somehow trick me into it. If
I
it's
think
still
that can
there
be
at 6, I
arranged.
might have to still do it, but we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, I think it's the you should have learned your lesson award. That's the award you'll be getting when you have the number one pick next year.
Yeah, yeah. If I get the number one pick next year, then just I don't know. I'll just quit. But
Um, it is something you get to choose, just remember.
hmm,
Um, now, what other awards we have out there?
we have you for going back and forth here, where during the draft, drunk yelling, saying, "I'm not picking any running backs. You're running back all the way." It kind of worked for you. Your running backs were not good. Best one you had was Rashad White, who you got from Matt in the trade, right?
Well, I had Rashad or what's the guy on the Kenneth Walker.
Oh, you had Kenneth Walker, and you traded him away,
hmm
which was a good decision because he wasn't he was hurt at the end of the year. But yeah, you're getting the zero RB Master Award,
hmm
which we were all making fun of you, and I think kind of rightfully so for not picking a running back until the fifth round and not to pick another one to the eighth round, and then running on Tony Pollard and Kareem Hunt and all these guys that quote unquote are not horrible, but they kind of suck. So congratulations to you, zero running back master award.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nick. Um, Glad that it was a strong season for my team, and I do not assume that it will be strong next year, but I hope it will.
Mm,
Um, we also had the Best Student Award going out to Carson, aka Colleges for Losers. And
mm,
we assigned this award based on his love of school, of course, and also his newfound love of the NFL. In the past, he did he set his lineup, he put in the effort, but he didn't seem to know a lot about the NFL, as at least as he told us on the show. He's been more of a college guy,
mm,
kind of ironically. And then
mm.
he got into the NFL this year and seemed to really be digging it. And his team, even if it had the same record as last year or close to it, you kind of felt it in his team, had some life.
Yeah, no, he was in the top four for a little bit there, and then dropped out to just miss the playoffs. But now, being a student of the NFL game now, being a student of the podcast, now they said that he's a very regular listener, being pretty interactive, just throughout the year, and giving him Best Student Award.
Yeah, very fun guest to have on the show this year. Hope to have him again next year.
And then last two awards here, we have mid-tier Nick Adams getting the main attraction award. He's getting the main attraction because out of all of our episodes that came out so far this year, he had the by far the highest views as of right now. We can still change that if you guys go watch all our videos some more. But he got at least 20 more views, I think, than the second highest episode. And that was the episode where he was chugging the beer. That was the episode where it just labeled "What's Nick doing?" and just trying to get some. Maybe it was too clickbaity, but yeah, congratulations to Nick Adams for being our most viewed guest this year. The main attraction award goes to him.
And let's not forget, there was a time when Nick Adams' episode had over 100 views. And then I think that YouTube got in touch with us. They said, the crudeness of his body out there chugging the beer was too much, and they had to take away some of the viewers.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, it
but
was definitely the biggest gate of the year, but he's still the viewers that YouTube left us. He's still able to win this award.
yeah, but for real, we have no idea what happened to his other views. He had over 100 at one point. Now he has like 60.
Yeah,
Which leaves just our last award. And that award is the Rivalry of the Year award going to Kenny.
ooh,
This is really an award that's for Kenny and Nick Adams, but the reason that Kenny gets it is because he ultimately won this rivalry. They each split it in the regular season 1-1, but after all that, Kenny made it to the finals, of course, didn't win in the finals. We would have loved to see him and Nick Adams face off for a third time and at some point in the playoffs. Didn't quite happen,
yeah,
but ultimately, I think he has to be crowned a rivalry winner this year.
yeah. Congratulations, Kenny, for Rivalry of the Year. And
Hmm.
with that, we're kind of transitioning into a new segment here, Nate. You want to tell the
Yeah.
people about it?
Yeah, we have an idea. Ultimately, it will be, the league and the commissioners in particular that tell us if they want to use the idea that we had. But we thought it was a lot of fun this year following the rivalry between Nick and Kenny, and they really ran with it. Obviously the chug offs, the bets,
Hmm.
um, the smack on Discord was a lot of fun. And we thought, why wait or why do that 2 times a year, 3 times a year when we could have that across the league? And we were
Yeah,
thinking of instituting a formal rivalries system, where maybe every team could have a rival that you're guaranteed to play twice a year. There's
yeah,
a number of ways we could do it. We could have a rivalry day where everyone plays their rivals, and then the other games are, at the end of the season or whatever. Or we could have the rivalry games spread out through the whole year to have the rivalry of the week every week. But we
yeah.
also have some proposed rivalries out there based on our own observations. We welcome any feedback on if any rivalries should be switched around, but I think these are a pretty decent start. Who do we got, Nick?
We got, like you said, Kenny versus mid-tier Nick, the great rivalry right now. I think
Mhm.
that title might move around a little bit depending on the best rivalry of the year. We got Snick versus Snack, the podcast rivalry here.
Of course.
We got Ducky and Kyle, best friends from college, the roommate rivalry. We got Carson, we got Kyler. They're the brothers. They play each other well. They played each other in the toilet bowl, the brother rivalry.
Hmm.
We got the Shane and Katie rivalry. As long as they've known each other, they've been mortal enemies. And in this case, especially with a tie, we're going with something like the petty rivalry there, where both teams would rather tie than lose to each other. And we got Matt and John, the too busy snowboarding rivalry, where last year Matt was living in Colorado, didn't want to do anything with fantasy, and then this year John, missed his lineup a couple times because he was boarding. So
Yeah, we could even call it the board and bike rivalry.
the board and
Um,
bike, yeah.
but yeah, I think I'm pretty pleased with the rivalries that we came up with. I'm sure there are other combinations that would also be very compelling. But we're curious of your thoughts and if you think the rivalry system is right for the league. It obviously would require a little bit of work on our commissioners to arrange the schedule to make that work out, but I don't think it'd be too much trouble.
Mm.
Yeah. Anything else as we kind of lead out the show here, Nick?
Yeah, just again, big shout out. Love doing this podcast with you guys. 3 years in a row. We love getting the feedback. More and more views every year, more and more subscribers. Continue to like, subscribe, and whatever else you do on YouTube to get the numbers up. Love the support. Love the back and forth. Appreciate you, Nate, every time coming in with trying to make up gates, trying to poke the bear, trying to make sure that everyone enjoys the show and keeps it going. So thanks to you there.
Yeah, no appreciation to you too, Nick. You've been my partner in crime the last 3 years on the show. This is now our 54th episode,
55th, 56th episode if you include all our videos, yeah.
if you include the Candyland episodes.
And the punishment, yeah.
And there's still an open invitation to have a Candyland episode between Shane and Katie, by the way.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it's been so much fun, and the whole rest of you have been involved. You've all been on the show at least twice. Many of you many more times than that. And we're looking forward to playing more fantasy next year.
Yeah.
Until then, we will have a great off season, and we'll be in touch.
We'll be in touch. Nice sign up. Send in the music here.